It's time for Northwestern Outdoors Radio, the award-winning show that covers fishing, hunting, and all sorts of outdoor recreation here in the Great Northwest. Northwestern Outdoors is brought to you every week by Max Lure Company, a legacy of innovation since 1969, by Loophole Optics, America's optical authority, by Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors, by Wallowa County, nature is on display in Northeast Oregon, and by The Real News, your fishing resource. Also by Shiloh Inns and Suites, providing you with affordable excellence, and by Mardon Resort, the place for fishing, hunting, and more in Eastern Washington. And now, it's time to head outside with your host, John Cruz.
October sure was fun, wasn't it? A whole month of great fishing, hunting, hiking, early fall camping, and end-of-season bicycling, and more. And you know what? As much fun as October was, November is lining up to be just as wonderful for outdoors enthusiasts here in the Northwest. We'll be talking about some of the great things you can do this month outside on our show. But before we do, we're going to talk to Dan McKinley. He's with the Mule Deer Foundation, and he's going to tell you about a really important fundraising banquet taking place at the barn in Winthrop, Washington on November 22nd. As you may recall, the largest wildfire in Washington state's recorded history burned in that area this summer and scorched thousands of acres of mule deer winter range, used by a herd of 14,000 animals. Dan's going to tell you about not only the banquet, where you can help raise funds, but also about what their organization intends to do with the money they raise to help out these muleys. With steelhead fishing in mind, Lance Mers will join us for an extended Max Minute to talk about a great lure you'll want to fish under a slip bobber to tangle into a metalhead this fall. Speaking of steelhead, there's a steelhead derby coming up this month too, and some good coho fishing going on right now in the waters around Lewiston, Idaho. Michelle Peters with the Lewis and Clark Valley and Hells Canyon Visitors Association is going to tell you all about it. And I'll tell you what, Michelle Peters is a great fisher person herself. There's more to fall than fishing and hunting. Hobie Hare, the founder and creator of Your Life Nature, is a life coach of sorts and would love to take you on one of his very affordable monthly nature discovery walks near Missoula. Hobie's going to tell you about 2 upcoming walks and about the unique service he provides designed to get you closer to nature and feel more fulfilled in the process. You've got to love that. In addition to this, we've got antelope hunting reports from Montana to share, a plea for help to solve an elk poaching case in southeast Washington, concerning news about brown trout fishing on the Owyhee River bordering Oregon and Idaho, and waterfowl hunting reports from several Avery Pro staffers here in the Northwest. But first, with the cool weather of fall here, a bowl of hot soup really hits the spot, and David Sparks has got a wild bird soup recipe to share with you on Sportsman Spotlight, brought to you every week by Shiloh Inn and Suites, the hotel chain that lives up to its motto of affordable excellence.
If you've just bagged a few pheasant, there's an interesting recipe that you ought to think about. Pheasant soup. David Sparks, Sportsman Spotlight. Good friend, adamant upland bird hunter, and brilliant chef, Christopher Clonch, called me the other day and told me he was going to bring lunch.
You have brought me, and I am soon to consume, a pheasant soup. Can you edify us all with just how it is you make pheasant soup?
Well, Sparky, sure. As usual, I haven't written down my recipe, so I'm going to look in the soup and remember exactly how I did it. So one of the things I do is I try to eat everything with legumes or lentils in them because of the energy that they provide and the nutrients. That's a different story for a different time. So I boil lentils and then make a chicken bouillon with lentils for about 15 minutes until they're soft with onions and garlic. Red pepper flakes that I put in almost everything because I like a little spice in it. Then I add into the broth carrots, red peppers that are roasted by me, not the ones you buy in the jar, and zucchini. I bring that to a boil and I drop in fresh mushrooms, some chopped basil, some pheasant that I cut into cubes, and I add a little bit of chicken sausage for additional flavor, and I cook it off until the vegetables are al dente and serve it right away. Yellow lentils are actually yellow split peas, so it has a little bit of the consistency of split pea soup, but a flavor that's out of this world. That's how the pheasant soup comes out.
Christopher has a lot more wild game recipes, which we try and pass along from time to time. This is David Sparks for Sportsman Spotlight.
Confused by so many national brand hotel reward programs? Blackout dates, expiration dates, different points for different hotel rewards and gimmicks. At Shiloh Inn Suites Hotels, it's simple. No blackout dates for any rewards stay. If we have a room available, it's yours. Hi, I'm Mark Hemstreet, owner of Shiloh Inns. As a rewards member, you'll receive free room upgrades, a dedicated personal agent to help book your stay, points that don't expire, points that can be used for free nights at any one of our beautiful hotels or donations to your local school or free airline tickets, and much more. And as a special bonus, you'll earn 100 free bonus points just for signing up. From your very first stay, you receive free Wi-Fi, free breakfast at most locations. The kids stay free. We don't charge ridiculous resort or parking fees, and we're dog-friendly. Shiloh Inns, affordable excellence. American-owned and proud of it.
Snow blankets the ground and the air is crisp and clear. Welcome to the winter wonderland of Wallowa County. The sun sparkles on the eagle caps and life slows down a little. A quiet journey into the backcountry means donning your snowshoes or cross-country skis. For more adventure, bring your snowmobile and experience 150-plus miles of groomed trails and breathtaking wilderness views. When the sun sets, experience some of Northeast Oregon's finest cuisine and stay at one of our quality overnight accommodations. Wake up to the world in Wallowa County. Your morning begins at WallowaCountyChamber.com.
Pheasants Forever is working hard every day to ensure there's more wildlife habitat for the future. To join us, go to pheasantsforever.org.
Back with Northwestern Outdoors Radio. Next up, we are going to talk about something really important. We're talking about helping a herd of deer that's in some real trouble. It's a benefit dinner being put on by the Mule Deer Foundation that's coming up November 22nd in Winthrop, Washington. With us here, tell us more about this is Dan McKinley, the Regional Director here in the Northwest. Dan, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, John. Good to be back with you.
Dan, as most of our listeners know, we had a huge wildfire this summer in Okanagan County. The Carlton Complex fire was actually the largest wildfire in recorded history in the state of Washington. Now, there's a huge mule deer herd of 14,000 deer up there. What's the impact to this herd from these fires?
Well, it looks like the biggest impact that we're facing immediately in Okanagan County from the results of these fires is our loss of winter range. So there's still a lot of unknowns right now, some good, some bad. The fact that this fire happened as early as it did is great for us because it gave a longer growing season for some of the habitat to recover.
Good.
But in the long run, what's going to happen here over this winter is there's going to be an overabundance of competition for the remaining winter range. And some of the impacts we're expecting to see is the lowlands, the river bottoms, where it's mostly agricultural in Okanagan County. Those are going to be hard hit by these migratory deer that come in. The orchards are already seeing a little bit more of an impact. They're seeing more deer there than they normally do, along with the fact that miles and miles and miles of orchard fence was burned during these fires up there. So there's no protection to the orchards that there normally is.
So there's going to be a lot more conflict between humans and deer as we get into the winter. I know the Department of Fish and Wildlife is issuing additional permits for people to go hunt and help basically reduce this herd because it's just too large right now for the forage base. But let's talk about this benefit dinner. What are the proceeds going to do to help this herd?
The dollars we raise at this benefit are going to be spent solely in Okanagan County, and they're going to do a number of things. And again, some of these are unknowns, so the money will be there if needed, and if not, we'll go to Plan B or C or D. Immediately, what we're looking at is the potential to have to do some winter feeding up in Okanagan County through this winter, and that's just to minimize the damage on the winter range.
Okay.
So in order to do that winter feeding, unfortunately, most of the feeders that Fish and Wildlife had were burned during this fire and past fires. So we're looking at building some new winter feeding sites or apparatus, and then also, of course, getting the food, whether that's pelletized food or whatever we can arrange that's optimal for the deer and also available for us to use. That's some of the immediate uses that will happen this winter. This fall, possibly next month, if we get the opportunity, we're going to start planting some of the habitat. That's a perfect time to plant bitter brush. And if we can get a hold of the right bitter brush and get it up there, we'll spend some of the money on that. The remainder of that money is going to be used as needed for rebuilding of infrastructure, which would be some of the orchard fences that were lost, some of the deer fences along the highways. And also, the majority, I believe, is going to end up being used for habitat planting. That'll be seeding either seeds or plugs or small plants. So that's going to be the major focus over the next few years. And in reality, this project is 10 years worth of work.
Right.
In normal circumstances and millions of dollars. And we don't have either of those, obviously. We have the time, but we don't have that much money and never will for a single project. But the fact that we can get a start and raise some dollars that we can then partner with other groups and organizations and private landowners and match those funds is going to enable us to do a lot more work.
Yep, I agree completely. You got to start somewhere, and this is a great start. So let's tell folks a little bit more about this benefit dinner. Exactly what time on November 22nd is it taking place, and where is it taking place?
It's going to start at 5 p.m. on November 22nd at the Barn in Winthrop, which is just on the north side of town. It's basically an event hall. It's where all big events that are in Winthrop just about have to happen because it's the biggest space up there. So it'll be at the Barn. It'll be a prime rib dinner with all the fixings. There's going to be a limited auction. Normally at some of these benefit dinners that we have, or normal fundraisers, we have a pretty substantial live and silent auction. In this case, I think we're going to have about half the size of a normal live auction, but we're going to have silent auction. We'll have multiple raffle games. We're planning a gun and optics board, which will be one big raffle that will have multiple prizes on that people could win all through the night. We're working on some live entertainment. So we're trying to make it a very fun night, something that all the people up there deserve to have at this point with what they've been through, but at the same time make it a real good benefit and a good fundraiser so we can do a lot of work up there.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to step up and help a little bit too. One of our sponsors is Loophole Optics out of Beaverton, Oregon, and they've given us a couple of Cascades VX2 binoculars, great binoculars. Their MSRP is around $300 plus. And we're going to go ahead and ship one of those to you to go ahead and use for this auction and raise some money and help benefit the mule deer.
Well, that'll be awesome. We'll throw that right up on our game board and put a big note up there for your radio show and Loophole both and get the support out there. And that's one thing is we are looking for donations. Obviously, with it being a benefit, we're trying to keep our costs as low as we possibly can. And so, you know, we're looking, we have a lot of people that want to donate money, which is outstanding because that's really the goal here. But we're also looking for unique items. We're looking for trips for fishing or hunting or custom furniture, things like that. And if anybody in the radio world out there hears that and wants to help out, the contact information coming up here at the end of this segment will be the way to get a hold of us, and we will definitely appreciate it and accommodate you.
Well, there you go, folks. So again, let's sum up here. Big fire this summer. 14,000 mule deer up in Okanagan County are in some real trouble. The Mule Deer Foundation is stepping up to help out, and step one to help out is this benefit dinner taking place at the Barn at Winthrop, 5 p.m., November 22nd. This is basically the opening salvo, the opening volley, so to speak, in terms of money that's going to be generated to do a lot of good work to help out this big herd of mule deer. And you can help in two ways. Number one, participate. Head on up to Winthrop. There's plenty of hotels there. It's a wonderful town to visit in the fall, and you'll be having a lot of fun at this benefit dinner too. Spend some money, go ahead and play some of the games, go ahead and bid on some of the items, and just enjoy a great dinner and good fellowship. And number two, if you have stuff to donate, donate it. And let's go ahead and get into that. If people want to contact you either about getting tickets or donating items for this benefit, how do they do so, Dan?
There's a few ways you can get a hold of me. The easiest, and my phone never turns off, so my phone number is 509-995-0819. I also have my email, which is very simple. It's dan@muledeer.org. You can also look for updates on our group Facebook page, which is Mule Deer Foundation Northwest Region. I post updates there and items all the time about projects that are ongoing all over this region. And as the dinner progresses and gets closer, there will be a lot more updates there as well.
All right. I'm going to repeat some of that information for you, folks. Dan's phone number again, 509-995-0819. That's 509-995-0819 to contact Dan McKinley, the Regional Director for the Mule Deer Foundation, or send him an email at dan@muledeer.org. Easy to remember, dan@muledeer.org. And don't forget to like and follow their Facebook page. It's the Mule Deer Foundation Northwest Region. And you can keep up on what's going on, not just with this benefit dinner, but with other events and other things that this great organization is doing. Again, it is a benefit dinner for the Mule Deer Foundation, taking place November 22nd at the barn at Winthrop, 5 p.m. Either be there or help out. Let's do some good stuff for those deer up there in Okanogan County. Dan, thanks for telling us all about this on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
You bet, John. It's always a pleasure talking with you.
Good hunters know before you take that shot, you've got to see the whole picture. Now, the best way to do that is with a spotting scope, binoculars, or a rifle scope, but it's got to be from Leupold. Now, Leupold is a Northwest company with a reputation that stretches across the world for making superior optics. The kind of optics that allow you to see what you need before making that stock or pulling that trigger. Look for Leupold Optics at your local Cabela store, Dick's Sporting Goods, or online at leupold.com. Leupold, America's optical authority.
When it comes to camping, I like to relax, but I was getting stressed about camp cooking. Then I discovered the Camp Chef Portable Outdoor Oven. This junior-sized oven works with a small propane bottle and is perfect for family camping trips. With a matchless ignition, heating up to 400 degrees, and space to put a 9x13-inch pan, I can cook cinnamon rolls for breakfast, casseroles for dinner, and pie for dessert. Look for the Portable Outdoor Oven at a store near you or online at campchef.com. Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors.
We're back with John Cruz on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
It's time for another Max Minute.
Fish on!
Brought to you every week by Max Lure Company. It is Halloween weekend, and it seems appropriate that I'm holding a rock dancer jig that's black and orange in color. You know, you can either use it for Halloween, or if you're an Oregon State University Beavers fan, it's also a great lure as well. Tell me a little bit more about this. Besides looking great for the season, does it catch fish?
Absolutely. You know, the great thing about this Max Lure Rock Dancer bucktail jig is the glow-in-the-dark eyes, and it's made of bucktail hair, which is hollow and buoyant. So it gives it a lifelike action in the water, and the steelhead love it.
You know, not just the steelhead, but a lot of other fish as well. I've actually used rock dancers in the Northwest Territories, and I have slayed the northern hike with it. I have used rock dancers to catch a bass here in the Northwest, and like you, I've also used them to catch steelhead. And it's kind of funny. When rock dancers first came out, I remember people were tossing like half-ounce jigs, tipping them with shrimp in the Columbia River to get steelhead. But you're making them a lot smaller now because I think presentations have gotten smaller over time.
Exactly. We actually have 3 different sizes, 1/8, a quarter, and 3/8 ounce. And they come in 14 different colors, so pick your poison.
There you go. So you can either go ahead and have the Halloween flavor, or you can go ahead and use some other colors. There's black and chartreuse. There's red and black, which is a good one. There's a purple and black. All sorts of different colors are going to work for steelhead for you this fall. Check out the Rock Dancer jig. It's a bucktail jig. It has a scent collar that holds the scent real well, too, and it works great for steelhead. Find out more at maxlure.com. And that wraps up another Max Minute from Max Lure Company.
The road is calling you to experience one of Oregon's 7 wonders, the Wallowas. So grab your camping equipment and fishing gear and head out to Northeast Oregon, where you'll find the views are endless, the air crisp and clean, and the water's cold and clear. Set up camp by the shores of Wallowa Lake or in the heart of the Wallowa-Whitman National Forest. Take your fishing gear and cast your bait into the deep waters of Wallowa Lake, or roll your fly into one of the eddies of the many freestone creeks and rivers teeming with fish. Take the road that leads to wonders. It begins at WallowaCountyChamber.com.
Looking for the ultimate cooking machine for your backyard or patio? Look no further than Camp Chef's new pellet grill and smoker. With user-friendly features like an auto ignition, digital readouts, and internal meat temperature sensors, it's easy to smoke the tastiest salmon, ribs, brisket, and turkey you'll ever eat. And an innovative system makes cleanup a snap. Everyone will want the food you're cooking on your Camp Chef pellet grill and smoker. The quality smoker that's second to none. Find out more at campchef.com. Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors.
It's a great time to go fishing, and whether you're heading to the lake for trout, to the saltwater for salmon, or fishing the Columbia for Chinook or steelhead, The Real News has got you covered. The columnists at The Real News are just like you, die-hard anglers. Better still, they share their expertise to help you have a great time on the water. The Real News has been going strong for 26 years and prides itself on being Washington's only sport fishing newspaper. Look for your copy at local sporting goods retailers or subscribe online at therealnews.com.
Wetlands are some of the most important ecosystems on Earth, but our wetlands are quickly disappearing. Find out how you can help. Join Ducks Unlimited today.
You're back to Northwestern Outdoors Radio. Up next, we got something a little bit different for you. We're talking to Hobie here. He's the founder and creator of Your Life Nature out of Missoula, Montana. Hobie, great talking to you again. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, John. Great to be here.
Hobie, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and the place you call home in Big Sky Country?
Definitely. Well, I've lived in Montana about 22 years. I'm a former Yellowstone National Park ranger and an international and outdoor educator. And I was first attracted to Montana when I was grad school. I taught English international students in an outdoor setting not too far from Yellowstone Park. And all those kids went home, and I stayed, where I taught at MSU and also at the University of Montana. So I guess I'm a cat and a Grizz fan. but what drew and really kept me here were the wild landscapes, all the wildlife, and my affinity for cold, snowy winters and the awesome summers that we have here. We can spend a lot of time on the water. And I've always loved learning about the natural world and sharing that with others. So it was a natural fit for me to stay and do the work that I'm really called to do here. But I do want to say that you don't have to live in Montana like I do to go camping or hiking or bird watching. The important thing is just to tap into what nature's got to give you right where your feet are. And just so you know, too, in the audience, I grew up in Richmond, Virginia. I've lived in cities as large as Tokyo with 20 million neighbors, and I've been able to do nature connection and show other people how to do that no matter where they live. So if I can do it, anyone in the world can, no matter where they are.
Well, I love that fact, but personally, I'll take Missoula over Tokyo any day of the week. Now, Hobie, you offer monthly guided nature discovery walks. Not only that, you offer them for a really low price of just $20. What are these all about, and where do they take place?
Well, in every season here in Missoula, I'm leading a series of differently themed and focused monthly nature discovery walks. And during our time together, I show people how to develop a more powerful and deeper relationship with nature, and how to apply that to what you value most and where you spend your time and energy in your life. These happen late afternoons. They're perfect for shaking and waking up your midweek routine and for creating more nature connection opportunities in your life. They happen on the third Wednesday of every month from 4 to 5:30. And it's a really inexpensive, fun way to kind of treat yourself and just have an invigorating exploration just minutes in downtown Missoula. And I wanted to share with you what one of my people who regularly goes on the walks with me has to say about the power of these things. She wrote to me, "Hi, Hobie. I just wanted to thank you for the inspiration that your monthly nature walks have given me. Being outside and in nature have always been an important part of my well-being. However, I don't always take the time to nourish my soul. Your walks have not only allowed me to better do this, but have given me a new perspective on how to go about it. Being able to reflect and verbalize and share thoughts with others is a huge part of self-enhancement and growth. I now make your walks a scheduled priority. I feel it's important to strengthen my core, so I've got the ability to share energy with others, both at work and personally. Your nature walks and guidance allow me to let go, see things in a new light, and rejuvenate my energy. And it amazes me that just a few hours once a month can be such an inspiration. Thank you."
Oh, Hobie, I love this. And I guess I've got to ask, we're going to dive down and drill down further into some of these walks, but before we do, these walks, how many people on average participate, and how invigorating are these? Do you have to be in really good shape to participate in these?
Not at all. We pretty much stick to fairly level to moderate elevation gain. We usually go anywhere from 1 to 2 miles depending on the group abilities, and I just assess that on the spot. And I like to cap it at 8 people, so usually it's about 4 to 6 people, and it's a nice intimate group where people are comfortable sharing and just getting to know each other and seeing the landscape in a new way.
I love it. I love it. Now, you've got one of these walks coming up November 19th, and it's actually got a Thanksgiving theme. It's called Nurturing a Natural Attitude of Gratitude. Tell our listeners about this walk you've got planned.
Definitely. Well, no matter what month of the year it is, there's lots of research that shows that walking outside can be a huge immune system booster, helps you kind of keep a positive mindset, helps you keep down your stress, And November is a great time to slow down before the major holidays gear up for so many people around the world. It's that quiet month before December to observe and notice what you've enjoyed and experienced and accomplished and appreciated so far this year. It's also a great time to kind of step back and set intentions for the busy, crazy month that's going to come for so many of us. So the focus of that walk is going to be coming away with nature-inspired ways to share our thanks and appreciation to the people and places and organizations that matter most to us in our life.
Folks, you're listening to Northwestern Outdoors Radio. We're talking to Hobie Hare. He's the founder and creator of Your Life Nature, and he will take you for a walk out in nature near Missoula, Montana. He does it every month. We just talked about the one he's offering in November. Let's talk about the one that you're offering in December. It's taking place the 17th, and with winter in mind, you're offering a pre-winter solstice celebration. What are your plans for this one?
Well, Don, this is going to be a lot of fun. I know that for everybody in our listening area, we've got lots of cold days. Sometimes they're pretty wet, long nights. And it's easy to forget about ourselves and our self-care and make excuses not to get outside because the holidays are coming. And so this is all about celebrating the return of longer days and creating some good, consistent nature connection habits to get outside from December moving on. It's a great chance just to bundle up and enjoy the quiet of the season and unplug from all the human activity at large. And hopefully we'll catch a sunset together if the weather cooperates that night.
Oh, sounds fantastic. Now, in addition to these nature walks, you offer other services too, designed to connect folks with nature. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about these?
Certainly. Well, I work with people not only locally, but long distance as well, and that's a lot of fun, helping people no matter where they live. And I wanted to kind of start with this by saying that it's easier to complain and to know what you're going to get in life than to change and actually change and get what you want. And that's what I help people do. I help them decide what they really want in life and focus on that, and nature connection is a way to go at that. And I use an easy to replicate and customize 4-step process to help people be more productive at work, peaceful at home, and more positive in all areas of their life. And what that looks like is there's nature connection mentoring programs that I offer privately for individuals, guided tours of national parks and other places, workshops, trainings, presentations, these walks, of course, and then I've also got a series of recordings and a lot of beautiful photography from all over the Northwest.
Oh, I love it. So there you go, folks. Your personal life coach, Hobie Hare, connecting you with nature and getting you on track. And I guess we need to talk about the fact that even though you're based in Missoula, you, again, offer these services to people anywhere in the Northwest and, for that matter, in the entire country, don't you?
I do. I've got clients as far away as North Carolina and New England, so we're all over the map.
Fantastic. You know, we probably better give folks a website and a phone number so they can connect with you directly and find out more about your services.
Wonderful. Well, yes, if you'd like to learn more about the nature connection work that I do and the positive results people have experienced, you can visit yourlifenature.com. That's yourlifenature.com. And my phone number is 406-581-8757, and that's Mountain Time, of course. And one thing I'd like to share with you, too, Don, is just that we've already talked about this a little bit, but doing what you really love to do in life is a way of honoring yourself and serving others, and I hope more people do exactly that with the life that they have. And with that in mind, I invite people to visit Your Life Nature or to call me and do a notice what speaks to you most about the natural world and to join our community here at Your Life Nature.
Sounds fantastic. Again, folks, the website is yourlifenature.com. That's yourlifenature.com. Or give Hobie a call. The phone number, 406-581-8757. That's 406-581-8757 to get in touch with yourself and with nature. Hobie's going to help you out. Hobie, thanks for telling us all about this on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
You bet, John. Thank you.
You demand quality performance from your binoculars, whether you use them in the field, on the water, or at a stadium. But you don't want to spend a fortune. That's where the BX McKenzie binoculars from Leupold come in. These armored, waterproof binoculars are both comfortable and dependable. Look for your McKenzie binoculars at quality sporting goods retailers near you, to include your Cabela's, Sportsman's Warehouse, or Northwest Bodmart stores. BX McKenzie, bringing your world into sharper focus, only from Leupold.
They were our brothers, our sisters, sons, and daughters. They were our parents, family, neighbors, and our friends. How can we express the gratitude that we all owe the thousands and thousands of American veterans who have sacrificed so much for our country's freedom? It was they who stepped forward from the time this country was created to fight for everything we know about liberty and freedom. And although we celebrate their victories and console them for their losses by creating monuments and honoring them in parades, the truth is we can never do enough for the freedom they've given us. Perhaps the most important thing that we can do is reach out to those veterans closest to us and simply tell them thank you. All of us at Shiloh Inns would like to take this opportunity to recognize the many men and women, including police and firemen, who have served and continue to serve our country to ensure our freedom. From everyone at Shiloh Inns, thank you, and God bless America.
I'm gonna take you fishing, honey. You're gonna love it. Gonna get up before the sun rise above us. Got a bamboo pole and a leaky boat. It ain't much, but if you bail, it'll float.
You're back with Northwestern Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. It's time again for news and reports from the field, brought to you every week by Mardon Resort at Eastern Washington's Potholes Reservoir. As a matter of fact, I'm at Mardon Resort this weekend. That's right. I'm doing a little fishing off the dock, trying for some bass and some walleye, and I am going hunting out on the duck taxi too. It is going to be fun. You can do it too. Find out more by going to mardonresort.com. That's mardonresort.com, where the fish bite, but we don't. We start off with concerning news about the Owyhee River. From the Idaho Angler Fly Shop in Boise, we learned low water levels in the Owyhee Reservoir have folks worried about the brown trout in the river below the dam along the border of Oregon and Idaho. The Idaho Angler reports low snowpack from last winter has left the reservoir perilously low, and stream flows below the dam are low as well. These lower stream flows leave spawning brown trout vulnerable, and when stressed by a lengthy fight and excessive handling by anglers, that catch and release moment can quickly turn into a catch and kill incident for the fish that's been caught. Because of this, the Idaho Angler is not guiding anglers on the Owyhee River this fall. However, they're not saying you should stay off the river. Instead, they're recommending that you not target the spawning brown trout and go after some of the other brown trout and rainbows found in this scenic stream instead. When you hook into a fish, play it quickly and keep that trout in the water as you release it. That way, you'll have a chance to catch it again and give that trout a chance to spawn so you can catch even more of them. You can find out more about fishing the Owyhee and rivers throughout southwest Idaho through a visit to the Idaho Fly Angler Shop at 1682 South Vista Avenue in Boise. The mid-October antelope hunting opener in south central Montana drew more hunters this year, but according to Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, the success rate was, well, flat. 156 hunters were checked over the weekend at Billings with 37 antelope, just 2 more than what was checked in last year. At the Big Timber Check Station, both hunter numbers and harvest numbers were up from last year. 322 hunters checked in, well above the 10-year average of 262 hunters, and they checked in 155 antelope, quite a few more than the 119 checked in last year. However, at the Broadview Check Station, hunter numbers were up to 196, some 26 more than last year, but the 58 antelope harvested over the weekend was exactly the same number that was harvested last year. In other words, the area around Big Timber was the place to be this October if you were after an antelope. Turning to field reports, we've got some late October duck hunting news to share with you from several Avery Pro staffers in Washington State. Kent Contreras and Alan Riggs say the number of ducks and geese appear to be below average along the border separating northeastern Washington and the upper Idaho Panhandle, and that things have definitely slowed down since the opening weekend of hunting season. Over in the Chehalis Valley in western Washington, though, Zach Laborde reports large numbers of cackling geese have come into the area and are feeding in freshly cut grain fields and grassy pastures. Hunting has been steady for local ducks and solid for small geese. Avery, as you know, makes all sorts of very good waterfowl hunting gear, and you can check it out in your local sporting goods store or at averyoutdoors.com. We've also got an elk poaching case to tell you about in southeast Washington. On Saturday, October 18th, Fish and Wildlife officers received a report of a cow elk that had been found dead on the bank of the South Fork of Asotin Creek outside of Clarkston in Asotin County. Officers responded and found not only a dead cow elk, but also a 2x3 bull elk that was badly wounded. The officers euthanized the bull to prevent further suffering and have donated the meat from that animal to a local food bank. The meat from the cow elk was not salvageable. The Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife needs your help to solve this case of 2 elk illegally shot and left to waste just above Campbell Grade in the Asotin Wildlife Area. If you have any information at all, please contact them and put these poachers where they belong, behind bars. Callers can remain anonymous. And with that, let's go ahead and go to Clarkston and Lewiston to find out about some great fishing going off right now.
Next up on Northwestern Outdoors Radio, we're talking to an angler who's a far better fisher person than I am, Michelle Peters. She's the executive director for the Lewis and Clark Valley and Hells Canyon Visitors Association, and we're talking a little bit about steelhead and salmon fishing. Michelle, welcome back to the show.
Well, hello. How are you?
Doing great, Michelle. I understand you've got an unexpected coho salmon fishery going off right now, don't you?
We do. It's very unique. The actual run itself was wiped out in 1927 when Lewiston Dam was built, and then it was later removed 50 years. And then since 1985, the coho were actually distinct in the area, and the Nez Perce tribe and their efforts to revive the run have brought them back with more than 15,000 returning this year.
Oh my gosh, that is an incredible comeback story. We actually had Kat Brigham on the show a couple weeks ago talking about some of the salmon success stories, and this really drives it home. So a lot of anglers for the first time in a long, long time are actually out there catching coho salmon now, aren't they?
Yes, this is actually Idaho's first sea-run coho salmon season ever.
Well,
so they had the landlocked coho in the lakes that they planted before, so this is really exciting for us. And then this week, they broke the Idaho state record with a 9.4-pound coho that was caught on the Clearwater River.
Love it. Absolutely love it. All right. And in addition to the coho salmon fishing, you've always got great steelhead fishing every fall. And I understand this year is even better because those big bee-run fish, they get up to 20 pounds. I understand that forecast is supposed to be 126% better than normal. Anglers have got to be excited about that.
They definitely are. And just looking at the Facebook pictures from the local guides and anglers here in the area, there's already the bee runs are showing up. There are some big fish being caught here in the Lewis-Clark Valley.
You know, Michelle, I will freely admit it, when it comes to people holding fish, you're always holding bigger fish than I am. Have you been out yet in the last couple weeks?
I have not. Been too busy at work, but I'm definitely going to be out there this next week and hoping to catch at least a 18 or 19-pound bee-run fish.
Oh, with you, I can count on it. You know how to reel those in a lot better than I do. And when it comes to steelhead fishing, we need to talk about something else. You've got the only steelhead fishing derby I know of that happens every November. It's taking place November 22nd through the 29th this year. It's the Snake Clearwater Steelhead Derby. Tell our listeners a little bit about this.
Well, the Derby attracts anglers from all over the Northwest, and there's $10,000 in cash and prizes you can win during the Derby. Each day there's a daily payout for first, second, and third place, and there's overall biggest fish is $2,000.
Wow.
So it's really a great Derby to enter. It's only $30 for adults and $15 for youth, so it's very affordable and such a great time, and you have all week to do it.
Well, and I love the fact that A, you can fish on either the Snake or the Clearwater River, and B, you don't have to be there the entire time. If you're just planning a trip to the Lewis and Clark Valley, you can go ahead and get a Derby ticket for, like you said, $30 and just go out for a day, and you've got a shot at winning this Derby, don't you?
Yes, you do. There's a good chance. That's all it takes is one day. My son and I were out fishing. He only went one day last year and took second place with a 16.42-pound stillhead, so that was pretty exciting for him.
Wow. And knowing you, I'm surprised you didn't actually beat that. What's the biggest steelhead you've ever caught out there?
Mine is over 19 pounds.
Oh my gosh, that smokes anything I have caught. Folks, the Snake and Clearwater Rivers, if you're after a big steelhead, this is probably the place to go in the Northwest. And the Snake Clearwater Steelhead Derby offers a great opportunity to not only catch a big fish, but get some money for it too. We better give folks a website to find out more about it.
They could just log on to our website at visitlewisclarkvalley.com.
There you go. Visit lewisclarkvalley.com. That's visit lewisclarkvalley.com. You'll find out not just about the Steelhead Derby, but about all the great things you can do in this corner of the Northwest that includes Clarkston, Washington, and Lewiston, Idaho, and Hells Canyon, too. Michelle, always a pleasure. Great talking to you again on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Rise above us, got a bamboo pole and a leaky boat. It ain't much, but if your belly'll float, I'm gonna take you fishing, honey. You're gonna love it.
Listen up, steelheaders. Fishing jigs under slip bobbers is one of the best ways to hook up with a metalhead this season, and Max Lure Company has got 2 jigs you have got to have. The Glow Getter is a marabou jig with a stout hook that's perfect for waters where no bait is allowed. When you can use bait, tie on a rock dancer. Tip it with a shrimp and put some oil on the scent collar, and before you know it, you'll be catching some of the best fighting fish around. The Glow Getter and Rock Dancer jigs, only from Max Lure Company.
We're back with Mike Meisberg at Mardon Resort in Eastern Washington. As we head into fall and early winter, I know a cast and blast getaway is a big reason people come to your resort, isn't it, Mike?
We have cooling waters in the fall, enhance the fish bite, and when waterfowl season opens, we've got vast numbers of local duck, in addition to desert mule deer that are magnificent.
Find out more at MardonResort.com. That's Mardon Resort, where the fish bite, but we don't.
I'm Ward Burton. Think that's fast? That's nothing compared to how fast America is losing its wildlife habitat. Join the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation and help us protect millions of acres. Visit elkfoundation.org or call 1-800-CALL-ELK.
Psst, yeah, you, the guide, outfitter, or outdoors business owner who's listening to Northwestern Outdoors Radio. Have you ever thought of becoming a sponsor of our show? We've got local sponsor opportunities at all 50 of the stations that carry Northwestern Outdoors every week, and we've got some network opportunities too. If the outdoors is your business, we can help you with your advertising needs. Contact me, John Cruz, through our website at northwesternoutdoors.com. That's northwesternoutdoors.com, helping you get the word out about your outdoors company.
We're back with one last cast from John Cruz on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
Let's run through some upcoming events before we go. We told you about a mule deer benefit in Washington State's Okanogan County earlier in the show, but another reason to head to Okanogan County is to learn how to catch steelhead in rivers like the Columbia, Okanogan, and Methow. You can do that on November 14th. It all kicks off at the Central Building at Pateros at 6 p.m. with dinner. After that, you'll get to enjoy 3 seminars from local experts Kevin Van Buren, Keith Rowe, and Shane Magnuson. And if you're smart, you'll stay in one of the local hotels that night and use those tips the next morning to tie into a metalhead. The Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife is hosting a fall turkey hunting seminar for beginners at the new Cabela store in Tualatin next Saturday the 8th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. That will cover all the basics you need to bag a Thanksgiving gobbler. The event is free and suitable for the whole family, but you do need to register in advance, something you can do through the ODFW website. Just go to the ODFW Outdoors page and go to November 8th on the Outdoors calendar for details, and hurry up because there's only limited space and it's going to fill up fast. The Upper Missouri chapter of Ducks Unlimited is having their annual banquet in Townsend, Montana on November 15th. The event kicks off at 5 p.m. at the Broadwater County Fairgrounds and will feature good food, fellowship, raffles, silent and live auctions, and the opportunity to make some money to support waterfowl conservation efforts in the Treasure State. You do need to buy your tickets in advance, and you probably better hurry because this event is just about sold out. You can get your tickets for this banquet and for other banquets near you by logging on to ducks.org and going to the events page. That's ducks.org for a Ducks Unlimited banquet near you. And another reminder for you Saturday listeners in eastern Idaho that the second annual Family Outdoor Festival is taking place today at Little Birch Creek Preserve in Robin from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you go, you'll find a number of hands-on learning stations to learn about duck calling, elk calling, how to set up duck decoys, how to clean birds, and how to cook them. There's also going to be tomahawk and knife throwing, black powder and trap shooting, along with an air rifle and archery range. On top of this, there's fly casting lessons and the chance to do some trout fishing at a private pond at the preserve. All of these activities are free, and they're even throwing in a free lunch. Sounds like an incredible event for the whole family. It's the second annual Family Outdoor Festival. It's taking place at Little Birch Creek Preserve in Robin, Idaho. Head out there today. That's all for this week. I'd like to thank the folks at Leupold again for donating that pair of Cascade BX2 binoculars for that mule deer banquet coming up the 22nd of November in Winthrop. That ought to get some money for the foundation to help them help those mule deer affected by that big wildfire this summer. If you get a chance, go to our website, northwesternoutdoors.com. You'll find audio from our most recent broadcast and links to find out more about the guests we have on the show. We've also got a Facebook page, too. It's Northwestern Outdoors Radio. Like us, follow us. We're always posting information about the show and about what's going on outdoors here in the Northwest. That's Northwestern Outdoors Radio on Facebook and northwesternoutdoors.com on the World Wide Web. October was a great month for fishing, hunting, and outdoor fun, and I suspect November may be even better. So until next time,